If you feel like you are going in circles, looping between like the same three ideas again and again, and you can't just choose one, especially for business or creative projects, you might feel like this means you're really indecisive, right? But I have another opportunity to spin your story a different way that you definitely haven't heard before. See, my name's Nikki. Welcome back. And if you're new here, I love neurobiology and neuroscience and mapping how our energy in our brain corresponds to our experience of reality every moment. And I noticed something really interesting the other day, which is that while I'm learning how to be a creator, I kept spinning between these different things I wanted to do and saw that I was changing my bio again and again until it ended up just as it was at the start. And I've learned that if I'm not understanding something, because I'm autistic and ADHD, that probably the two things that feel conflicted are actually interconnected, but my brain isn't aware of that. It's like stuck on the wrong Zoom. So figuring this is probably what was going on, I went to ChatGPT and I blurbed out everything that I was struggling with. I have a feeling that all of these things are related. Is that what's going on? And ChatGPT goes, yes, that is exactly what's going on. See, it's all a different level. There's a high, a medium, and a low level. And all of your thoughts are about the same project, the same thing. But in your head, in your consciousness, they're not connected. Because what was going on for me is there's the high level abstract things like I want to talk about mind and energy and creation, and I want to make people feel better and make their life awesome. This is my why. This is my purpose. This is also the default mode network, which is the super active part when you are struggling with ADHD or autism most often. It's the part that's all about reflective thinking and big picture ideas and self-referential thoughts. When that part of your brain doesn't have all the electricity running through it, and a different area does, say the frontal and parietal lobes of the prefrontal cortex, you end up at your mid-level, your mission, which is the who. It's like adding a framework to that big picture why. When I'm on this level, I'm thinking, I want to empower neurodivergent people by making systems to help them. It's like a little bit more practical. It's like I want to learn storytelling and share it with other people. And then when that part of my brain isn't the one that's got all the electricity in it, and instead my executive functioning has the electricity going through it, it says, I want to record a YouTube video. I want to test this idea. I want to share this on threads to make this thing happen and that thing happen. And they all link together perfectly. I got ChatGPT to do this for me. And this, by the way, that last one is the how. But the problem is that I have fragmented awareness. I have a lot of self-awareness, but the different regions of your brain need to communicate well together. This is called coherence. I have some bioelectric videos about it if you're interested. And if that's not happening, it feels like it's three different versions of yourself that are all competing, but it's only because the information is not getting shared in the background. Instead, it's like coming to you as if it's three different people talking. But all of these are you. They're all just different areas of your brain active at different times. We're really not a whole self. That is like the human thing as you are trying to become whole. This gets really weird if we want to dive a little bit deeper before we find out my solution to all this, because your fragmented self, even if you're not neurodivergent and you're still watching this, that's actually intentionally was done to you. Not by like a specific person or anything like that, but the school system is really new. It hasn't been along for millennia. And you might know that when it was invented, it was to train children so that they would have the skills and knowledge they needed to go be a factory worker. And that meant training you to listen to external sources, to rely on the boss to tell you what to do. They are the ones whose prefrontal cortex matters. They're the ones who organize you and tell you what to do, which initiates the executive functioning. This is why so many of us feel like we got out of school and we say, now there's no deadline, so I can't do anything. So you're running around in circles, chasing projects, because if you sit down and start working, you're like, I need to get it done now. And why is that? Because you're in executive functioning mode. You don't know it, but you do know that if you leave to do something else, you're not going to get back to it. And you feel like that's because you're flaky or you're forgetful, but that's not true. It's just that you were never taught how to intentionally turn on the executive functioning part of your brain so that you know that you're going to sit down and finish the project. You were never taught to use your prefrontal cortex and your DMN like at the right times, to turn on one so you can play in the project, and turn on one to dream and reflect about the project, and turn on the other one to get the tasks done. Like, that's how it works. So you think that you can't exist in the real world, that you have to have a boss to direct you. And that's true for now because you were trained that way, but it's not a solid truth about you. You can learn how to make it work. You can learn how to integrate those parts of your brain and literally have control over them. You can control your behaviors and your actions, which means you can control your success. So recognizing that my problem isn't I have 7 different things I want to do and I have to pick one. It's actually, I have 7 things that are a stack together, and I'm just fragmented about my awareness when I shift between them. There's a couple things that I'm going to do going forward. The first is that I'm going to stop fighting with myself and thinking, is it A or is it B? And trust that with time, it will get easier for those connections to be made. And then I theorize that over time, I will actually not have this issue anymore because your brain can be rewired. So yeah, my connectivity and structure might be different, but like neuroplasticity is a thing. I don't know why people like talk down, like you can change so much about yourself. I definitely have. I'm going to work with this not fighting myself by practicing building systems, very simple microsystems that will intentionally put me into the brain mode that I need to be in to do the step of the project that I'm on. And I'm going to build around this. This part's really weird, actually, because the thing that I've been wanting to do for a year or more than a year is subconsciously to take anything I want to learn and make it into one project instead of just feeling like it's a work task thing you have to do, and then make a YouTube video about it and post that online and create a catalog so I can see everything that I've been learning and share it with other people and, monetize. And what's interesting is that subconsciously, this thread of how I want to do things in my head perfectly cycles me through the default mode network and the prefrontal cortex and the executive functioning, so that they will all get their chance to shine and they'll all get to start working together and seeing how one thing links to the next, which I didn't do on purpose, but I think is like so cool. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And if you want to follow along and see the other kind of weird brain experiments I'm going to do so that I can live a successful, self-driven life and make that wealth and change my reality, then please hit the subscribe button and follow along. And I'm not going to see you exactly in 1 week because I'm going to do my projects my way, which is it takes as long as it takes. And maybe it's a week and maybe it's 3 days. Okay, cheers.